Welcome to the MotUS Edge, where we celebrate business, primarily youth sports facility management, leadership and motivation, co-hosted by Stacey Rowe, Cole Stott, Kevin Brubaker, and Casey Jones. We are here to fill your cup with knowledge, laughter, affirmations, and comfort knowing that you're not alone. You can and will succeed with the MotUS Edge.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the MotUS Edge. We are live again today from the MotUS Business Expo, bringing you this bonus podcast episode. Casey Jones will be your host today with several of our fabulous MotUS speakers and affiliates. We have on Aaron Flaker, Sean Timmons, and Kari Pickering today.
All right. Man, thanks for joining us today. I got Mr. Aaron Flaker. He came and he was our keynote speaker at the MotUS Business Conference, MotUS Business Expo today. So thank you for coming out. How are you enjoying your time here in Nashville so far?
I love Nashville. Being from Louisville, this is a great and simple getaway where you don't have to fly, for hours. And so we love anytime we get a chance to visit Nashville, and this was just happened to be the next reason to come here.
Man, it's been so great. I didn't come to Nashville for 20 years. I used to come a long time ago, and then COVID hit. We got together, Cole and I, and then started spending a lot more time up here.
Right.
Just what a wonderful.
We actually came down here, my wife and I, and some friends during COVID because you got to feel like a little bit a little bit of normalcy. So yeah, we actually used Nashville in that way. It was great.
Awesome. I'm amazed by all the live music and people that are honestly so good that may never make it, and it's incredible still the talent.
I said the same thing to her yesterday. It's like, wow, think about how many acts there are a day in this city. Like on a Sunday, or today will be a Monday, there'll be music from the time these places open until they close at night, and that just shows how many artists are in this city.
Yeah, I know, pretty crazy.
Trying to make it.
So anyway, let's talk a little cheerleading. You have, goodness gracious, instrumental in starting JAMBrands with some wonderful partners, and then built that up, and now you said you've been out of the industry for 10 years?
In November, we sold to Varsity in November. I don't remember the exact date, but November, we'll call it 1st of 2015. So here we are in 2025. So when we get to November, it'll be a full 10 years.
So here to be our keynote speaker, also here to celebrate the launch of Stacey Rowe's book, The Pioneers of All-Star.
Yeah, so cool.
So what's it like walking back in after 10 years?
I don't get nervous about a lot of things, but for some reason this weekend, like, I was at home, my son's birthday, and I was anxious. But when I'm anxious, it usually is a good thing. But I think I was just a little nervous isn't the right word, but I guess we could say anxious about just like being out so long and like, sheesh, I might not know. 10 years is a long time. But then ironically, Stacey, who wrote the book, she's the very first person I ran into at the car valet line. I come upstairs. You were the second person I ran into, and quickly settled in. It was like, okay, these are my people. This is what I did for so long. And it's funny how quickly you just fall. You guys haven't been away, but I have, so I can speak of this from a reality standpoint. This point is like just last night being around people that I hadn't seen in years. It just felt so welcoming, and it reminded me honestly why I loved the 20 years I spent in this industry. Not every minute of it, of course, because you have your trials and tribulations in business, just
crazy
like life.
Cheer coaches yelling at you.
Yeah, but I'm talking about if you really looked at it holistically, last night and yesterday were super, and today being here and speaking in front of this group, it really, I will leave here to the good. It was really a big benefit for me to come back to this space.
You talked about something in your keynote and just the gratitude, and that's something that I remember, you got off the elevator yesterday and running into Don Collins. Yeah, goodness gracious, absolutely. I hadn't seen him in 14 years. Just so much nostalgia around this event and around this book launch. And, it's pretty cool because you had all these people, and at one time we were sort of competing against each other. And now I just feel like that the industry's in a pivotal time of where we've had so much growth and so much opportunity. And now I think we're at a time where we can work together and really, really focus and hone in on the athletes. And I know that was something that you guys were big on with JAMBrands, is providing that experience for the athletes. So just kind of refresh us on that.
Yeah, so JamFest began in 95, and the day we started, the very first time we talked about hosting a cheerleading competition, we Emmett and I, who started it with me, we were like, this has got to be fun. He and I were fun dudes. We got both have pretty big personalities, and we're like, we need to take that mentality to an event, because the word competition is, it means, one versus another, or in cheerleading it has to be multiple people versus each other, but it shows an adversary relationship, and there's winning and there's losing. So, but we tried so hard from the very beginning to, how can we not eliminate that? It's still a competition, but how within the setting of a competition can we get people to walk away feeling like it was a family-friendly, fun, laugh, smile, hug, kiss, cry, get all the emotions, like really try to pull all those emotions out of people during their day with us at JAMFest.
Yeah, and I think that's so important too. I think that's so important for kids. To me, it's the ultimate team sport.
Yeah.
You got 2.5 minutes of going crazy and all these moving parts and no timeouts, no substitutions,
there's no time.
None of that. But like you mentioned, during that competition, you get to experience so many things from fun to competition to winning to losing, and all of those things that are just imperative in life. So,
and I think that if people said to me like, man, what was when you look back at that time you spent in the industry, what was the most rewarding piece? That is exactly what I would have probably said. Like just seeing young kids and their families grow together, especially kids. I mean, and I believe this of all sports, so this isn't just about cheerleading and dance, but I think that sports teach all of us the great, what do you say, the things we really need in life. Like when we get older and we go through something like what I went through with my health scare, I went back to my athlete mentality, the things that sports taught me and the things that cheerleading teaches these young men and women of teamwork and how to lose the right way, and failure is okay. And, but work ethic and all those things are just such great life skills these kids are picking up.
It is so important. And I felt like I got that late in life. And I tell a story, it was my mid-30s before I really, truly figured out what sport was. And it was on a bicycle. It was an individual sport. And it was just me kind of finding that thing. But that was the point where I got it, and I realized that it was the work and the determination and not always just your God-given talent, So
that's a fact,
So pretty cool experiences. I don't know, man. Tell us one of your craziest experiences of, obviously you ran a lot of competition. Right. So anything pop out as I was talking with a lady from Arkansas inside here after the thing. She was reminding me about the Hot Springs event. She goes, I was at some of those first Hot Springs events. And I started remembering, I was like, it was called the Turkey Jam. And I remember being there one year in the hall. And all of a sudden, I think I was out there emceeing like a break or something, and everybody like freaks out. And what had happened was, remember the old 60K wash we would put that would hit there was before LED lighting. Yep.
So those things were hot. They would get super hot. And the union people, if it was a union hall, or the workers, whoever put those up and down, they were very particular about it. But somehow one of the lights caught on fire. And it was like a mad scramble. Like, we literally had a fire in the building, and they had to exit, clear people out. I mean, we had stories of getting snowed into venues where we got up there, the event started, all of a sudden it's snowing and everybody's stuck in town overnight. So, didn't always plan for that, but, there were so many just crazy fun things that get thrown here. As an event producer, which I've been for now 20 years in cheer and dance and almost 10 years in baseball and girls fast pitch. If you think something's never going to happen, it's going to happen. It's coming at some point, some way. And I'm not talking about just a belligerent parent or coach that's upset. I'm talking about stuff you couldn't even have dreamed up in your mind.
We say that in the gym business. When we think we've seen it all, then God's going to pop up and just show us something that we haven't
check this
seen.
out.
Yeah. So, all right. So you've been out for 10 years. You ever see yourself coming back in?
Yeah, I think, I'm a never say never kind of guy. Like, I don't think, with my speech in there was about finding our where's, what's, and wins. And I think if we get into predefining those too much, of course we like to look, by human nature, we're planners. We want to see that path and then how to attack the path. But some of the best things I've ever done in my life, like I spoke to in there earlier, becoming a mascot, that wasn't on my path. And had that not hit my path, and God or whatever influence happened to put that in my path, my life would have been completely different. And this company that I had, JAMFest or JAMBrands, never would have existed.
When you talked about that really touched me, and it made me think back to how I got into cheerleading. And it was literally off of a conversation with someone, a female cheerleader that lived next door to me in college. Never in my life would I have ever thought I would have gotten into cheerleading. nor would I have thought that I would have stayed in it, and it would have became, how I feed my kids.
I spoke about my mom in this session earlier, and she used to always say, God love her, she'd say, when are you going to get a real job?
Oh, man.
And this was like, I think it was just because of her perception of cheerleading. And so many people, anybody that's listening to this, if you're in cheerleading, you've been asked that question at some point. Like,
absolutely,
this isn't a career or a job or an industry, right? And I'm like, yeah, it's a really big one. It's a legitimate space.
I used to joke that my two least favorite questions were, what do you do? And do you remember me? Yeah. So, no, I understand. And I'm blessed to still have my parents. But, man, I felt like I had to get into my 40s before they stopped asking me, when are you going to get a real job?
It's unfortunate she was, when we sold mentally, because she had Alzheimer's, she wasn't in a space to understand. And, I have to rely on the Holy Spirit's explain that to her. And she's looking down from above, very proud of what we achieved. Emmett, Dan, and I together, what we built, it was pretty unique and special, and definitely something that I will cherish the rest of my life. But today, especially being here with all these people, it's really rewarding to feel like we made a difference at some point.
Well, thank you for taking the time to come visit with us. Thank you for being our keynote speaker, and I look forward to celebrating the book launch with you tonight.
That's right. Looking forward to tonight. It's going to be a great time.
Got my friend here, Sean Timmons.
What's happening?
Way back.
Back
to the World Cup days.
Back to the World Cup days.
Out there, so.
Good times.
Yeah. Now you're with Nfinity. I think you've pretty much done it all in cheerleading now at this point, haven't you?
Yeah. With the exception of actually owning the gym myself, I've done just about all of it. And I give all that credit to you guys, and I let you guys take that risk, and I kind of stay away from all that.
Yeah, it can be a rewarding job owning a gym, but it can be tough as well. So, man, I see you got your bingo shirt on. These guys were up here. They just did a little. Sean and George just did some bingo in here at the MotUS Business Conference.
Oh, we had a blast. So coming back from lunch, just to get everybody kind of fired back up and built back up, George and I put on some silly outfits and got the music going and did some high-speed, fast-paced bingo. So
I don't know about you, but I feel like George is always in some kind of exciting outfit. Last time I saw him at USASF, he was dressed up like Elvis. So,
there's a few of us that aren't afraid to make a fool of ourselves, when the timing is right. So, I used to give Jim Hill a lot of that credit too. Me, George, Jim, we always find ourselves in those positions. But we have fun, and as long as everybody else is having a good time, that's what it's all about. We're not curing cancer here.
Right.
Just cheerleading.
Exactly. Trying to make it fun for the kids. So,
right.
Anyway, you're with Nfinity now. You've kind of bounced around. COVID sent many of us in a different direction and landed you with Nfinity. You guys are a great resource for us here at MotUS, and always support us at our conventions and everything. So talk about a little bit of your role with Nfinity.
So cheerleading brand director right now on the All-Star side of things. So ultimately, I'm really kind of doing everything that's customer facing when it comes to All-Star. So we have our event brand that we started back in 2021. So championship events covers everything Champions League, and then our newest brand that we kicked off last year, which is the All-Star Grand Prix. And like you were talking about, everything is about the athlete experience, and back in the day, I always said the reason why we chose events is because we like the event producer, we like the event staff, we enjoyed the locations, but we enjoyed what they gave to the athletes. And we've lost a lot of that over the years, and it's kind of just become another backdrop and another weekend, another backdrop and another weekend. So, when we had the opportunity to get this going back in 2021, it was a unique opportunity for us to be able to step back and say, all right, we have a real chance to make a change here, similar to what you guys are doing, and similar to what Dennis is doing as well. And there's quite a few of us now that are back in it on that side, trying to take it back to the way that it used to be. And I don't mean the Wild Wild West from a rules perspective, but,
sure.
Let's make the investment about the athlete.
Well, I agree. And I think things had become, you described it. We were at the Wild Wild West. It was all over the place. And then things pulled into one. And then, like I said, nobody saw COVID coming, but that sort of kind of blew everything up.
It's a great reset.
And I don't know. I feel like that All-Star cheer is primed and ready for growth. And because what happens is you got a lot of new players. You got a lot of different people coming into the industry or coming back into the industry or coming back in on their own. And to me, what that does is just open the door for different types of events, and which is going to ultimately encourage growth and encourage new athletes to enter the sport.
And I've seen that. I'm sure you guys have as well. When COVID started coming back, there were a lot of kids that never came back, right? So we know 14 is that average drop-off age in youth sports across the board. Yeah. But we started seeing those 15, 16, 17-year-old kids just kind of fade out of the sport. The highest level kids were still hanging around. The ones who just absolutely lived for it day in and day out stuck around. But the kids who just kind of did it, they got a 3-month break from the gym, didn't have to do anything, doing exercise classes at home through a Zoom, to call it practice. Yeah. Those kids just fizzled out. But then you saw the parents whose kids were cooped up in a house, the young ones, who they were looking for something to do. So we've seen a big growth, and we see it on the shoe side in our business. We've seen a tremendous curve in the youth size shoes over the last probably 4.5 years than anything that we saw before that.
I think to me, that's great to hear, because I feel like not that one customer is more important than the other, but I know at our gym, that's something we focus on is the youth kids, because we know that's the future. Level 6 and the highest level kids, they're awesome, and they have worked their butts off to get to that level, but there's got to be the folks that come up and replace them. So
absolutely.
That's something we constantly look at is those youth numbers. So.
Right. Coaching at the highest level for years, similar to what you guys do, that's the entertainment of our sport. Those are the athletes that build fans of all-star cheerleading, right? But these little ones that we know that we can get them in at 5 and 6 years old and earn their business for 12 and 13 years, that type of repeat customer and that retention is what we all need to survive. From the event side to the shoe side to the apparel and uniform, and then to the gym owner side.
And I personally just think it's such a great experience for these kids that go all in. Youth sports today are quite different than when you and I grew up. We could play everything. And now you pretty much have to specialize. And it is what it is, but that's where we're at. But I do love what All-Star does for these kids, because the life skills that it's teaching are really second to none. To me, there's no other team sport on the planet like it.
I agree.
2.5 minutes of intense routine, intense workout, no timeouts, and
that's no substitutions. No substitutions, right? This is it. Your team is your team. You're heading into an event, and you know that whoever's on the mat at that last practice is who you're going to battle with that weekend. And it does say something special, and we force ourselves to work with different athletes of different skill levels and try to meld them to become one single unit, and do it all in unison. It's a fantastic sport. The thing that I always loved about it is, we know in traditional sports what the score is when you cross that line or that ball goes in or you come over the plate. In our sport, it's so subjective that it's the challenge of how do we continue to take this group and get the best scores out of this group.
Absolutely.
Which is so different from the group we had, 12 months ago.
We talk about that often. How do I make it obvious that I should win?
Right.
How do I make it obvious that, because if it comes down to, right there at it, like I said, it's pretty close and pretty hard to, it's not like crossing the finish line. It's not like kicking a field goal.
Right.
So, but I think those are the things that, many of us would argue we want less subjectivity. But I sometimes argue that subjectivity is one of the things that makes our sport.
Well, the sports that have succeeded with less subjectivity and a lot of creativity, right, are very often single, duo, trio type of sports, where we're putting, in some divisions, 38 members on the team. We've got to trust that if you say to me, and I believe that you're a pretty, you have great integrity. Let's say that. And I'm a believer in that. If you said, hey, these are the skills that we're putting out this weekend, I would trust that those are the skills you're putting out that weekend. I don't know that I could say that, or everybody could say that for everybody in our sport, right? So to be able to trust and say, all right, we've got 38 kids out there in this level 6 team, and 26 of them are throwing standing fulls, and we're going to believe that. And then how do you count that quick, inside of that routine? So I think that's what makes it hard on the code of points. Now, I've listened to a lot of great arguments on code of points, and I agree with most of them. I just don't know if we run too many events inside of our country, inside of the world, to be able to have qualified enough judges to get to code of points.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. Judging is, essentially it's a part-time gig. It's not that they don't know anything, but a coach they're in the gym 365 days a year, and it is tough to be able to, like you said, to have enough experienced judges, because there's so many great judges, but still there's not quite enough. So,
well, there's 800 domestic events in the U.S. alone between November 15th and May 1st weekend. So when you start doing the math on that, and then you take a week off for Thanksgiving, and you take 2 weeks off for Christmas and, New Year's Day, and then you take a week off for Easter, you're now eliminating, we're down to like 22 weekends, and there's 800 events that happen inside of 22 weekends.
It's a lot of judges.
It's insanity.
Yep.
Right. So to believe that you're getting great qualified judges at every single event, it's not that they don't want to be great qualified judges. They do. That's why they're giving up their weekend.
Absolutely.
Because they're not doing it to make $1 million. We all know that. They get a decent paycheck, and they all try their hardest. And I believe, like you said, most of them are very good at what they do. But it only takes 1/10 of a point to make a difference in our sport. Right?
You are correct.
You're off by 1/10 of a point, and you change the outcome of a lot of kids' weekend. Absolutely.
Well, man, we've talked about it all. First of all, I want to just say thank you to you. Thank you to Nfinity for all the support that you guys have given us. If you could wrap us up with one thing, just what's Nfinity doing for the future of the sport of all-star cheer?
We've got a couple tricks up our sleeve right now. We've got some things that we're working on. We just made the announcement about the ICU and our partnership with the ICU, which is groundbreaking in our sport. It's always kind of been varsity's, playground to play in, and we're in there now along with them, and we're pretty excited about that for the global side and the international side of our sport. We've got a couple things that we're working on behind the scenes, that we're getting ready to release, and similarly focused to that younger age level. Trying to bring new athletes into the sport so we all can sustain our business.
Right.
So it'll be coming out soon.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you. Great
Thank
talking to you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Hello, everyone. I have Kari Pickering here. Did I say your last name right?
You did, yes.
I thought I did. So she is with iClassPro, and she has come in you just did a little presentation for us at the MotUS Business Expo here.
I did. Yeah, I did. So we have been utilizing EOS, Entrepreneurial Operating Systems at iClassPro for about 6 years. And I know MotUS uses it as well.
Oh.
And we just thought it would be a great tool in the toolkit for our cheer industry and our gym owners.
I think that's great. So you gave a little presentation on that?
I did, yeah, just all the basics. I definitely want to push everyone to the EOS website to learn more, but it truly transformed our business. iClassPro, the kind of growth we experienced just following that model has been absolutely tremendous.
So how long has iClassPro been around now?
Officially, before it was School Force many years ago, but iClassPro has been around since 2008.
Okay. I remember being so scared around 2000, Y2K, and our software, our class software, gosh, I can't even remember what it was called back then. And it actually did crash when we hit 2000. So, and then I'm not sure the direction we met, but then I met Chris, who founded iClassPro at I believe at a USASF convention, and he was like, "Hey, you should try this." And honestly, we've been with iClassPro at Stingrays ever since then. So, and our people love it. Our front desk ladies love it. You guys are so great at working with them, and even when we have something, or we're trying to offer something that you all may not have, then you
hopefully deliver it, right?
Absolutely.
Right, yeah.
Absolutely.
It is funny. I just talked to a few people here at the conference, and they're like, we were just talking a few weeks ago about automated billing, and it's like y'all heard our conversation because it's live now. And so, and that's just a testimony to our relationship with our gym owners, Chris's background, and just trying to anticipate the needs of the customer sooner than later. And EOS has helped us do that. Again, I'm a proponent of the model. We pay an implementer just like anyone else would that would use it if they're not self-implementing. But it really helped us focus on what our customer needed.
Right. Well, that's something that I've seen in the growth of iClass. You guys just offer so much more than just a software package of, because the apps, the website, talk some about that.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, we did launch the embedded website, or the website that is tied to iClassPro, so there's no redirect. And, Premier has one of those websites. I think y'all have one of those websites now. It's just been absolutely fabulous. Right now, we are in the process of redoing our staff portal and our customer portal, incorporating Google, Apple Pay, just a real seamless experience for the customer base. And that's what we care about. We care about your customer. They're really, your customer's our customer. And so if we can't offer a seamless experience for them to sign up with you, then we're not doing our job.
And full transparency, I'm not allowed to really get on the computers too much at our gym, or because they don't want me to mess up anything. But like I said, you guys do such a great job. I actually just redid our website. It looks tremendous, and all of that just works so well together. So we certainly appreciate that. How many gyms do you guys service now?
So we're in 3 verticals, so that's a loaded question. Our biggest verticals, I say 3, our largest verticals are the cheer industry, gymnastics, and learn to swim. And so we're in 40 countries. Some of the most obscure things we have is equestrian schools, pet daycares, driving academies, and even circus schools overseas.
Circus schools?
Circus schools, yes. There is such a thing.
Sounds like it might need a new business opportunity. I was actually talking to you at lunch. I'm really, really, curious on the swimming business, because I grew up around a pool. I was always a lifeguard at a pool, a lifeguard at a beach. And I jokingly say this, but it was the truth. In my early 20s, I had to decide, was I going to be a professional lifeguard, or was I going to be a professional cheerleading coach? And literally, those were my my decisions right then. And I think I made the right one. I went the cheer route, but I did spend a lot of time at a pool, and it's something I'm kind of interested in that business. You said,
yeah, it's a very it is a very lucrative business. I think, and it's a business that it'd be hard not to be passionate about. Right, you are teaching a life skill.
Absolutely.
To everyone needs to learn how to swim and be. We never are safe in the water. It's about being safer, and and that's really our global presence. Really started with the Australian market and the amount of swim schools there, just because of geographical region there. But yeah, it's a pretty neat business to serve, and knowing that we get to be a part of that, and National Drowning Prevention Day, and the world's largest swim lesson. So it's a mission moment for sure.
Well, I think it's pretty cool. I think all of the businesses that you described that iClass works with, the common denominator, they're kids, and we're all in the kid. What we're doing here, we're in the kid business, so we just love kids. Anyway, I can't thank you guys enough for your partnership with MotUS, and always willing to go above and beyond and donate a lot of great things and come and speak with us. So thank you again for coming to the MotUS Business Expo.
Well, and thank you, to the audience or the listeners. I can't say enough about what MotUS brings to the table. I think we partnered with y'all when y'all first started 3 years ago. And the content, the education, the best practices, just the fellowship, with like-minded people is just truly next level. And I'm so impressed with, every year it just continues to grow.
Yeah.
And it's really, and again, I give props to y'all closing out, and just, when you care about the kids and you care about the business of kids, with like-minded people, you can't help but excel. So congrats to all of y'all as well. I'm just thankful to be a part of it. If you're not plugged in with MotUS, I highly encourage it. It's just the greatest group of people that you could connect with.
Well, thank you very much.
Well,
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
We love all of our affiliates. They're so wonderful and support MotUS and our mission so much. We're so glad that you guys could be here today at the expo and hop on the podcast. For our listeners out there, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at the MotUS Edge. Check out our shorts, like, and comment. We love to hear from you. Also, make sure you give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, or X at Join MotUS. Follow our show wherever you listen to your podcast. If you like what we're doing and you want to hear more, leave us a comment and be sure to tell all of your friends. And hey, if you're a gym owner, join the movement and sign up for MotUS today. Thank you for listening, and we're excited for you all to have the MotUS Edge. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the MotUS Edge. We hope you had a blast. Join us next week for more on business, leadership, and motivation. Subscribe and follow the show where you get your podcasts. Subscribe to our newsletter at joinmotus.com. The MotUS Edge Podcast is produced by ClantonCreative.com.